Coming up on the Sports Desk, Stevie Thompson and the boys in black are running full speed. Our first look at Bishop Montgomery's defending state title campaign. Then this West Warrior had his fair share of battles from the gridiron, but none of them will compare to one battle he had to settle off the field. And Touchdown Timmy gonna visit Torrance. He's a future NFL Hall of Famer, and he tells us why his greatest accomplishments have nothing to do with post routes or punt returns. All that plus updates and news from Torrance's sports scene. The Sports Desk starts right now. How's it going, Torrance? Welcome to a festive week on the Sports Desk. It's our last time in studio this year, so let's get after it. The last time we saw the Bishop Montgomery Knights on the hardwood, they were the centerpiece of a school rally, wrapping up a CIF state championship, and in the summer since then, they've lost just one senior. They couldn't end on any higher of a note, and there surely wasn't much need for retooling the roster. It's all added up to a top ranking in CIF's Southern Section Division IV bracket and a fourth place ranking in the LA Times Top 25 Prep Hoops poll. Do we need to be any more curious how the Knights will top off a state championship? So, are they going to follow it up? Their first home game at Bishop Montgomery, taking on Peninsula. Early in the first quarter here, Stevie Thompson Jr. with the steal. He's going to take it back the other way, and he would go on to score 23 points on the evening. Still in the first here, Knights up. Christian Oshida from the corner. But the Knights are going to trail after the first by a close margin. On to the second quarter now. STJ again with the deep three. And the Knights take the lead back. They'd go up 33-23 at the half. Now in the fourth quarter here, little bro Ethan gonna drain it from the corner too. The Knights would pull away, and they'd go on to win this one, their first home game, by 29.
Essentially 5 starters back because 2 of the guys rotated the starting spot off a state championship team. So they know they're good and they're a confident team, but I thought our confidence was a little borderline arrogance tonight, especially early. Second half we played a little bit better.
I think I could be a better leader out there. I think I could be more vocal and encouraging my teammates and trying to help them out, and I think I could be a better leader overall.
So Bishop Montgomery moves to 5-0 after beating Peninsula. The Thompson brothers score 23 apiece, and the Knights score a total of 33 in the third period to pull away in this one. They are slated for appearances in the Mission Prep Classic, the Take Flight Challenge, and the SoCal Christmas Classic hosted by LaSalle, all before getting after it against the Del Rey League on January 14th. As for the girls at Bishop Montgomery, they're able to pull off a win over Peninsula as well. Jessica Malazarte puts up 28 points, 10 of them are in the fourth quarter. Peninsula would go on a 10-2 run in the fourth, taking a 1-point lead at 52-51 in the final few minutes. Hannah Kitamura hits a 3-pointer in the final minute, gives Bishop the gap they need to close out a close non-league matchup. Now back to the boys. North took on Bishop's rival, the Sarah Cavaliers, in a non-league matchup of their own. The two squads combined for 197 points thanks to the Saxons' fast-paced offensive style. North scores just 14 points in the second quarter, though, allowing Sarah to build enough of a gap to pull away. It's North's highest offensive output of the season by 15 points. It's also the most points they've given up on the season by 15 as well. Some other scores throughout town as teams all over Torrance are running full speed in preseason basketball. The West Warriors notch a third win to stop a 2-game losing streak that ended their West Coast Shores Classic week. Next up is the Irvine World News Classic. The Spartans played St. Margaret's at the Valley Christian Cerritos tournament. They fall to the Tartans for their 4th loss of the season. And at the Beverly Hills Invitational, Torrance loses 3 in a row, averaging just 38 points a game in that tournament and dropping their record to 2-5. All right, everybody, next up after the break here, the South Holiday Classic blows up the South Bay girls soccer scene. We'll tell you which Torrance squad was left standing at the end.
Introducing a breakthrough in time management technology. a whole new day of the week. It's called Someday. Ingenious. Perhaps someday you are going to go skydiving. Enter a hot dog eating contest. Maybe ride a mechanical bull. Now, it's on the calendar. You may want to retire someday. Ready for that? You'll really want this. A My Social Security account at socialsecurity.gov. You can estimate your future benefits, plan for your retirement, and how to save for it. If you already receive benefits, you can manage them online. Millions of people already have a My Social Security account. In fact, someone opens one about every 6 seconds. Get yours today, because someday is here at socialsecurity.gov.
Parents sure have their hands full, and they could use an extra hand. Now, every state offers free or low-cost health insurance for your sports hero or budding artist. Kids up to age 19 can get checkups, doctor and dentist visits, hospital care, prescriptions, and more. Your child may qualify based on your family size and income. It's one less thing to worry about. Call or go online for more information.
Hi, welcome back. This year, the South Holiday Classic turned into a solid muscle-flexing opportunity for supporters of South Bay girls soccer. 7 of the final 8 teams left standing in the last weekend of play were South Bay squads. Of those 7, 4 were right here in Torrance. The quarterfinals pitted all 4 of those squads against each other: Torrance, West, South, and Bishop. So it can be said this year's Holiday Classic has been a mad dash for early season bragging rights across town. First up, Torrance takes down West, the number 3 ranked CIF Southern Section Division III team. The Tartars and Warriors played to a 1-1 draw in regulation. It was actually a scoreless tie until the 67th minute. Then in PKs, Haley Noble scores the 3rd and final Torrance goal needed in penalty kicks to put the game to bed. And Torrance moves on to the semis against Peninsula, where they'd pitch a shutout. The lone goal of the game came on a throw-in from Haley Noble that banked off a Peninsula player and into the goal. Next up in the tourney was a second match in a week between South and Bishop, but before they could get to that quarterfinal, South had a non-league date with Miracosta. Kaylin Camerly scores 2 goals against the Mustangs to lift South to a 3-1 victory. Then it was on to that weekend meeting with Bishop. The Knights took 3-2 victory in round 1, while round 2 went to South on a hat trick from sophomore Claire Grauwinkle. In the semifinal, South would have another rematch. This time it was back with Costa, where they were shut out 2-0, keeping us from seeing a Torrance South final for the Holiday Classic. Now the first chance we'll get to see last year's co-champs face off will be the middle of January. As for the boys on the pitch, the West Warriors goalkeeper Denver Silver Lake would take top play honors if, well, we had a top plays list here on the Sports Desk. But check it out. Lined up for PKs against former Bay League rival Palos Verdes. Stuff. Silver Lake jacked up, and his teammates chasing him all over the field. Guy Vanderbeek would score a pair of goals in the 37th and 58th minute to give West their 3rd win of the season. Zach McGraw added an assist on Vanderbeek's 2nd goal, so he's producing for the Warriors early in his first season back on a prep squad. McGraw played at Costa his freshman year, then homeschooled his sophomore and junior years to make space in his schedule for a crazy club soccer travel schedule. Now he's back at West, wrapped up the football season, and will head off to the military academy on a soccer scholarship next fall. West's likely biggest challenge for a Pioneer League title this year, the South Spartans. They earned their first draw of the season. It's the first time anybody's held them to less than 3 goals as they come into the South Torrance tournament without a loss. 2 athletes to meet. One will have a bust in Canton, Ohio before you know it, and the other had to overcome more than just a couple head-hunting safeties to get back on the football field. We'll tell you who they are next.
Every child needs a mentor, a positive role model. For me, that was my grandmother. For more than 110 years, Big Brothers Big Sisters has been making meaningful monitor matches between adult volunteers and children. And these positive relationships have a direct and measurable impact. Join me this holiday season and help a child realize his or her potential. Visit bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
Chris Domine is a husband and a father. Chris is an athlete. Chris is even an Iron Man. But 10 years ago, Chris was facing a very different story because his kidneys were failing.
Basically, the doctor said, if you don't get a kidney transplant and if you don't do dialysis, you are going to die.
Fortunately, Chris received a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor.
You know, your well-being changes, you know, from loss of hope to better times ahead.
More than 100 million people in America are registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. People of every age and ethnicity, because they believe it's the right thing to do. Imagine what you could make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Hi, welcome back. Most young sports fans grow up with one athlete that stands above the rest. We wear their jersey number in Little League, memorize their accomplishments, and cheer just a little bit louder with a tad more passion when they come onto the field. Now, sometimes even the best of those athletes don't want to be role models. They just want to play the game and nothing else. This next man, though, is not one of those athletes. It's why 27 years after he first donned an NFL uniform, fans are still lining up for a chance to meet him here in Torrance, shake hands, and thank him for accomplishing more than just scoring a couple touchdowns.
High spiral, drifting back round.
You knew every time he got the ball in his hands that something was going to happen, and probably was going to happen good for your team, and generally that was the team I was rooting for.
10-5, touchdown again, Timmy Brown!
As far as I know, his first play at Notre Dame, he fumbled the ball, but he made up for it. It was just something next about Tim Brown that he had. I really enjoyed seeing it.
Touchdown Timmy was the first wide receiver to win the Heisman Trophy. He earned the nickname Mr. Raider through 16 seasons in LA and Oakland, retiring behind just one person as the NFL's all-time leaders in receiving yards. It's quite the resume for a man who grew up dreaming of becoming a pastor. Didn't realize how gifted he was in pads and a helmet until a coach by the name of Lou Holtz told him, 2 years into his college career, that he could be the best player in the country.
Jim Brown of Notre Dame.
But Frank Caesar's been a fan of the Raiders since 1964, and Mayor Pat Fury is the most diehard Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans. They've both watched plenty of football, and even they can't quite put a finger on what made Tim Brown so special. So, he wrote it out for us.
People were coming up to me and saying, you know, they really admired how I handled myself off the field, how I represent the Raiders, how I represent my family. I wanted people to know why that was, you know what I mean? The last 7-8 years of my career, I pretty much decided that as best I could, I was going to try and live by the principles of the Bible. So just by doing that, it sort of kept me out of the limelight.
But before those last 7 or 8 years, Brown wasn't so sure of the person he'd become. He never made headlines for being arrested. There were no TMZ to broadcast him drunk at Hollywood parties or a crippling gambling addiction. Even with the clean-cut image that actually turned some advertisers away, the temptations that come with fame sometimes got the best of him. The most constant temptation, women, came in and out of his life, and he was uncomfortable with the man he thought he needed to be, the person he was slowly becoming, in order to succeed in the NFL. When a light over his bathroom mirror broke, he didn't fix it. Instead, choosing to shave in the dark just to avoid looking at himself in the mirror. So, in the summer of 1996, Tim Brown decided to lead on and off the football field through his faith over talent alone.
You know, it took me, till I was 28, 29 to figure that out, but I'm thankful I did, because I don't know if I would have had the career that I had. I don't know if I would have the respect, and I think that's when you walk away from the game, you want to walk away with people respecting you as a man and a football player.
That next season, he led the NFL in receptions. It is a bit ironic that a man who grew up knowing he'd someday be a pastor instead ended up in silver and black, adored to this day by football's most notorious fans. But what's not ironic is the belief he started playing with before that career season. The belief that his talents, the speed, the moves, they weren't given to him so he could win games. They were his platform to teach these exact lessons.
We just felt as if that the book would be able to help some young guy out there. Maybe there's an old guy out there the book can help. But we just felt as if it worked for me, then maybe there's some other people out there that it would work for. And that was the inspiration behind putting everything down on words.
So as Timmy says, be who you're meant to be. Because some things are just more important than winning a Super Bowl.
At the 30, one man to beat 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Irish, Timmy Brown.
Tim Brown's book, The Making of a Man, is on bookshelves nationwide. He's one of 25 semifinalists for induction into the 2015 NFL Hall of Fame. And a little fact we all learned on his visit to Torrance, his wife, Charisse, is a West Torrance alum. What do you know? Which brings us to this next athlete. He's somebody even Tim Brown would look up to. This fall, the West Warriors had a football season they're never going to forget. And for one senior, the journey to get back on the field one last time topped the list of inspiring stories in 2014. Collin Kushner has this story for you.
I kind of felt like I would just wait it out and it would get better, but then it started getting worse and worse, and then that's when I knew something was really, really wrong with me.
For many, football is just a game. What if it embodied more than that? What if it gave somebody hope and something to look forward to in a time of need? 17-year-old Kyle Hargrove has always loved sports. Growing up, the South Bay native started playing baseball. It wasn't long after that he began playing football, the one sport he would truly fall in love with.
We kept him in team sports, and he was very shy, and so being in a team sport was good, and he thrived in baseball. And from that family, he moved on right into football.
In 2011, just a freshman in high school, Kyle started playing football for the West Warriors. In 2012, his sophomore year, he made the varsity squad, where he would spend the rest of his football career at West.
My parents made me play football, and I really loved it. And I wanted to play all 4 years. Sophomore year, I was on the sidelines, just getting the feel for it with everybody. And junior year, I kind of got into some playing time, and then I really started shining late varsity year, senior year.
November 2013. The West Warriors were in the middle of a CIF playoff run. Kyle Hargrove noticed something was wrong. A few days had passed, and the pain continued to worsen.
He got injured being a boy, wrestling around, and it was before a football game, and they had some downtime and wrestled, and boys being boys, kick this, kick that, and laugh. And I could tell because I could see him on the sideline, and he kept hitching at his pants. And Kyle never gets hurt, and when he does, it's usually bad.
November 19th, 2013. Kyle and his mom went to the emergency room. The diagnosis was not good. 16-year-old Kyle Hargrove had testicular cancer.
I was gonna die, pretty much. Scared.
A few days later, Kyle went in for surgery. Doctors immediately removed his testicle and found out that the cancer had spread into his lymph nodes. More surgery was required, but despite the devastating news, doctors were very hopeful.
They said that it's 95% curable, and so I heard that, and that was my golden ticket. I won the lottery. If you're going to have something bad that you can cure is golden.
December 2013. Kyle began chemotherapy. Because he was so young, the treatment plan they had him on was fast and furious. While Kyle endured treatment after treatment, he had the support of his family, friends, and the one thing that was always on his mind, his football family.
It's crazy. Without their support, I don't know, I wouldn't be the same person I am right now. They're amazing.
Had we not had sports, to tell you the truth, we would have been a lot more lost. Thank God for football. What are they doing? Where's the score? Can we, people were texting us, and so anything to take your focus off of it, it helped, because even though you want the best to happen, you don't want to focus on the problem sometimes. You just want to run away.
July 2014. Just 8 months after the diagnosis, Kyle Hargrove had a goal since the beginning: to step back on the football field his senior year. He eventually started training again to gain back what had been lost.
My muscles started like atrophying and like giving way and like shrinking. So I started kind of lifting like a freshman and stuff. I was really, really weak. And I've been training hard and stuff, and they just started growing back again.
The 2014 football season was a memorable one for the West Warriors. They went a perfect 10-0 in the regular season and made it all the way to the CIF semifinals, where they fell to Palos Verdes. For Kyle Hargrove, it was a season he would never forget.
It meant a lot. Just getting back on the football field, it meant so much to me. The team needed me to step up, and I was just there. And I would do it all over again.
Thanks to Kyle for sharing his story with us. And good news just the other week, Kyle had a 6-month remission check. He is officially cancer-free. The 17-year-old is currently in the middle of wrestling season, and he'll be graduating from West High School this coming spring. All right, everybody, that's going to close the books on another week with the Sports Desk. As always, we're available on Facebook if you want to peek at what we're doing throughout the week and which games we're featuring. Facebook.com/SportsDeskTV. Or if you'd like to email the show, it's the SportsDesk@torranceca.gov. All right, everybody, like I said, that's going to wrap it up for us. And guess who else is here? I bet you didn't know it. Santa's our stage director. Have a good one, everybody. Happy holidays.